I've just really been in a spring makeup mood and I wanted to use an older palette today that kind of just gives me spring vibes. So I did a little post the other day here on YouTube and I asked you guys to vote for which palette you want me to use, and out of the 3 that I listed, ABH Nouveau won. And kind of by a lot actually. I've really been liking doing these more kind of throwback looks and videos with older palettes, so I think this is a perfect one and it just screams spring to me. So if you want to see how I got this bright kind of springy eye look, go ahead and keep on watching. But before we get started, this video is kindly sponsored by Ana Luisa. I have talked about Ana Luisa so many times here on my channel. They're one of my favorite jewelry brands and I am almost always wearing at least one piece from them, and usually it's earrings. I'd say about 90% of my earring collection is from Ana Luisa. Their pieces are long-lasting, hypoallergenic, water-resistant, and sustainable. And I totally agree with all of those claims because I've been wearing their pieces for about 3 years now and I haven't had any issues or tarnishing with any of their jewelry. Their design start at just $39 and I like that they have a mixture of some more dainty or some more statement pieces just depending on you and your vibe. They also have free and fast shipping in the US and all of their pieces come with a 2-year warranty. So I wanted to show you some new earrings that I got and also wanted to share some recommendations for Mother's Day coming up. So I've kind of been more into earrings that are just a little bit more exciting than like your basic earring. So first I want to share the pair that I'm wearing right now. These are the Crease earrings and I really like the look of these because they come into an upside down V shape and it just looks like you kind of have 2 earrings going on. And I also really like how they kind of hug the bottom of my earlobe. And then my other new pair are the Sloan earrings. I think these look so cool. I've been wearing them a lot recently in my videos. You see what I mean? How it's a little bit more exciting than just like your typical earring because I love the little X pattern on these. And again, this is another style that kind of hugs the bottom of my earlobe and they just kind of have a little bit of an edgy feel to them. So Mother's Day is coming up and I do think jewelry is a perfect gift for Mother's Day. I remember one year, I think I was in high school, but me and my siblings all went in on a really pretty heart necklace for my mom and she absolutely loved it. Like a heart necklace from your kids, that's adorable. And Ana Luisa does have really cute necklaces. They have necklaces that have little initials on them, or they have one that says mama, which I think would be so cute, especially for like a first-time mom. But I'm also a really big fan of their bracelets. I'm wearing 2 of their kind of more dainty style bracelets today. Last piece I wanted to share is another pair of earrings. I want to say this is one of their best sellers. These are the Ash double earrings and I have worn these so many times. I think this chain style is so cute and they also come in more of a 2-tone style where one is gold, one is silver. So if you know someone that likes to wear more mixed metals, that could be a really fun pick. So if you're kind of stumped on what to get someone for Mother's Day, I really don't think you can go wrong with beautiful, long-lasting jewelry. If you want to check out any of these pieces, I'll leave them linked down below for you. And when you're shopping on Ana Luisa's website, the more you buy, the more you save. Thank you to Ana Luisa for sponsoring the beginning portion of this video. And now let's get into this makeup tutorial. All right, let's dive into the Nouveau palette. Here's what the inside looks like. And I gotta say, out of all of Anastasia's palettes, this one just screams spring to me. So I always like to use it this time of year. I already primed my eyes and for that I use the Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer and I set that with a translucent powder. So I'm gonna start with Flirt on a fluffy crease brush. And I'm gonna start by running this shade throughout my entire crease, kind of as my transition shade. So I'm bringing my brush throughout my entire crease, all the way from the outer crease out here, all the way into the inner crease. And I kind of do a mixture of little circular motions like this and then some bigger back and forth motions like this. And I'm going to grab a little bit more of the shadow and I'm going to focus this more on the outer part of the crease. I still wanted to have some of that pigment in this inner crease, but I like my outer crease to be a little bit deeper. I grabbed a little bit more and now I'm bringing it even lower towards the outer part of my lid. I always say this when it's been a while since I've used an Anastasia palette, but her shadows are just so good. Like they just apply and blend so beautifully. Let me get the other eye caught up. So again, with that first dip of the shadow, I'm just trying to get the shadow placed along my entire crease, all the way from the outer to the inner corner. And then grabbing a little bit more shadow for the outer crease. And then a little bit more for the outer part of the lid. So I only have that Flirt shade laid down, but by adding a little bit more on the outer corner, it just kind of adds some depth to the look without using a deeper shade. Now I'm going to switch to a crease brush in the shade Paloma, and I'm just going to use that to soften the shadow pretty much right below my brow. And this is just going to make sure I have a really smooth blend. I'm gonna apply a little bit of my NYX glitter primer on my eyelid for the shimmer shade that I'm gonna pop on. And I'm focusing this primer on the inner part of my eyelid. And you can just see how tacky that makes my lid, so it's really gonna give that shimmer something to stick to. For my shimmer, I'm gonna take Lily. So I'm popping that right on top of the primer. Oh, that is such a stunning shade. It kind of has like a warm base to it, but it also has some of that like green reflect in it. I think this is stunning. Then I'm gonna go back to my crease brush with nothing on it and just kind of use that to soften around the edges of the shimmer. And then same thing on the other eye, starting with the glitter primer. And then going in with Lily. And then a soft blend with my fluffy crease brush. Now I'm going to take the shade Muse on a tiny angled brush, and I'm just going to stamp that along my upper outer lash line. I've really been liking using a darker shadow as my liner just because it looks a lot softer than using like a pencil or a liquid liner. And then I'm doing just a tiny little flick on the outer corner here, and then taking my crease brush and just kind of running it right on top of that darker line and kind of pulling it outwards. You can kind of see the before and after here, where right now I just made that line with my liner brush, but I haven't really smudged it out yet. So you can see this line is a bit harsher than this side. I think either are totally fine though, really just kind of depends on what kind of look you're going for. And like I said, I've just really been liking kind of a softer, smudgy look these days. I went ahead and popped on mascara on my upper lashes and just wanted to show you what this looks like for those of you who don't like to wear fake lashes. And for my mascara, I'm wearing the e.l.f. Lash and Roll in black. But you guys know me, I'm popping on lashes. All right, lashes are on. And today I'm wearing the style Flirt from my brand, The Bright Lashes. So Flirt is one of my half lashes, so it's sitting right out here on the outer corner, and out of my longer styles of half lashes, this is like the most natural and kind of wispy looking style. So for me, this one adds just like a little bit of density, but really just a lot of length out here on the outer corner. So I already did some of my base off camera. For my foundation, I'm wearing the new Jones Road Just Enough Tinted Moisturizer. I want to say this is like my 4th or 5th use of this because I've been using it quite a bit since I received it in PR. I did post a little short and kind of first impression of this, so I'll link that down below if you want to check it out, and also up here in the cards. But I'm kind of finding this is like exactly what I want a tinted moisturizer to be. I really like the thicker consistency of it because it does feel nice and hydrating on the skin, but it does not look cakey at all. I've tried applying this with a brush and my fingers, and I think I prefer a brush application, but that is how I apply like the majority of all of my base products. And because it is a tinted moisturizer, of course it's going to be a light amount of coverage, but that's kind of just what I want for this time of year. And you get 1.69 fluid ounces in this. In most base products, you only get 1 ounce. So I feel like you get quite a bit of product here. So I just wanted to shout that out really quick because I really have been loving it. And then for some extra coverage on my blemishes, I went in with my go-to NARS Soft Matte Concealer. And now I'm just doing a tiny bit of contouring with my Makeup by Mario shaping stick. I have the shade Fair. Now for cream blush today, I wanted to use the IT Cosmetics Sun Blush. I don't think I've used this product since last summer just because it is a pretty bright color, but I remember absolutely loving this formula. I'm gonna tap some of that off. Oh yeah, this is pigmented. Okay, you see how much just came off like that? Be careful. But this is supposed to be a blush, but also kind of give you like a little bit of that sunburnt look, but in like a really pretty way. So I'm using the shade Sunlit 10, but I love this just kind of brighter peachy pink shade. I really am trying to get more use out of the products in my collection, especially a video like this where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use an older eyeshadow palette. Let me use an older blush that I've had for a minute. Yeah, you really only need a little bit of product, and also this jar is kind of huge. On the back of it, it says it's it's a blush plus bronzer and 95% solid serum. The solid serum part is interesting, but I can kind of see that just because of how glowy and hydrating this looks on the skin. But I definitely wouldn't call this a bronzer. Again, like I said, for me, it kind of gives more of that sunburnt look. But we are quickly headed into sunburnt blush season, so I'm not mad about that. I feel like I might have overdid it just a little bit, so I'm gonna go back to my foundation brush and just kind of tap around the edges of the blush. And then going in with my Natasha Denona concealer, and then blending that out with my fluffy concealer brush. And then I always go back to my blush brush and just kind of blend where my concealer and my blush meet. I am going to add a little bit of powder to my face. I don't feel like I need to set my entire face because I'm really liking how things are looking, but I definitely want to set my under eye. So I'm going to take the Tower 28 Get Set Pressed Translucent Powder on a little powder puff and just use that to set the under eye area. Ever since I've been using the Tower 28 matte blushes a little bit more, I've been using this powder a bit more because it really is so blurring without being like so heavy on the skin. So I'm just doing a light layer of this where I need it. Again, center of my face, under my eyes, just not everywhere. This does make me want to grab one of their matte blushes though. So I'm going to take the shade that I just keep using. It is Long Beached Iced Tea. I think this is my favorite out of all the shades they launched, and just popping that on. So this is supposed to be more of like a setting blush, which is kind of perfect for today because I don't want to set my entire face. Okay, I'm loving how my base is looking, but let's zoom in and finish up the eyes. I mentioned this in a recent video, but I also do really like the look of just having everything on the upper lid like this and having nothing on the lower lash line. It just makes your eyes look so bright and open in my opinion. But I recently got this new Chameleon collection from Wet n Wild, and I wasn't really interested in most of the products except this one liner, and I really want to try it today. Here it is right here. It's supposed to be like a multi-chrome liner. The shade is called Cosmic Seeker, and I always say how I like a more kind of like shimmery or metallic liner on my lower lash line, so I think this could be really pretty. So I'm just gonna go for this and line my entire lower lash line. And then I'm taking a small smudge brush and I'm just gonna smudge that out to soften it. You tell me, does that look like a multi-chrome liner? I feel like when I shift my head, you can see the other shades in it. Like I see some green, some pink, but also it just kind of has like a grayish base to it almost. Okay, wait, I didn't draw my waterline. I want to see what that does. Okay. I don't know, I think it's kind of fun and different. Now, whenever I have this palette out in front of me, I'm always so freaking drawn to the lavender shade, but I find that it's kind of hard to use with this palette. Because in my mind, like the green shades don't really go with purple. These warm shades that I'm using today don't really go with purple. I still just want to use it for a bit of a pop. So I'm going to pick up a little bit on my smudge brush, and I want to try to place this on the inner part of my lower lash line and see how that shows up. Okay, it's kind of covering up my multi-chrome liner, but that's okay with me. I just think this purple shade is really what makes this palette scream spring to me, so I wanted to use it today, you know? I'm trying to do some more spring looks. Okay, I have pretty much covered up that liner with this purple, but I don't know, I kind of like the purple better. Just makes it more fun and springy. Just trying some fun things today, I guess. Now I'm just grabbing a lighter highlighter shade. I'm dipping into my palette with Sigma and just grabbing the shade Bright, just because there's not really a good highlight shade in the Nouveau palette, but that's okay because I have a million other palettes. Now with this eye look, I don't think I want to put mascara on my lower lashes because a lot of the purple shadow is kind of sitting on my lower lashes, and I like how that looks because if I put the mascara on, it's gonna hide a lot of that purple. Okay, if you're trying to recreate this look at home, you definitely don't need this multi-chrome liner. I would just use maybe like a soft brown liner you have just to add some definition to the lash line. I'm gonna grab a darker brown liner. This is Makeup Forever Limitless Brown, and I'm gonna run that across my tight line. I'm also gonna bring that in my waterline. Honestly, just kind of ignore the multi-chrome liner step that happened. I have really been into using this brown liner in my waterline recently because it'll kind of fade throughout the day but still have just a little bit of pigment to it to add that definition. I'm kind of struggling to come up with a lip combo just because I have a couple different colors happening. Like I have the warmth in my eyes and my crease, like with my blush as well. There's like a little bit of a green sparkle in that shimmer, but then the cool toned lavender shade on my lower lash lines like throw me off a bit here. So I'm gonna keep this nice and easy. I'm just gonna pop on my Tower 28 lip softie in the shade Red Bean Mochi. This is my go-to lip product if I don't really know what I want to do, but I love this shade because it's really close to my natural lip color, so it's just gonna add like a little bit of an enhancement. And I like to tap it out with my finger. There we go, just nice and easy. All right, this is a final makeup look, and I gotta say I love how it turned out. This is probably the most colorful eye look I've done in a minute on my channel, but it was nice just to play with some color today. Again, I'm trying to do like bright springy looks, but I'm so glad you guys picked this palette because it really is such a fun palette for spring, and I have quite a few other tutorials with this palette on my channel. If you go to my channel homepage and in the search bar, if you type in ABH Nouveau, all my videos with this palette will pop up for you. I want to say thank you again to Ana Luisa for sponsoring the beginning portion of this video. Again, if you want to check out any jewelry pieces for yourself or for someone else this Mother's Day, I'll leave a link down below for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.